30. October 1930. Walking delicately in sandals, Jasmine headed towards the living room, which Edward had given her today to dress up in a special dress. She arrived in the dining room where Edward was waiting for her around a table decorated with dishes and candles. He looked at her as soon as he saw her. Jasmine wore a red silk gown with a side-high slit. That was exposed from one side, from which a spotless and smooth leg was seen. Two thin cords from the deep neck were tied behind the neck to hold the dress in place. Today, Edward didn't motion her to sit anywhere. That means she could sit wherever her heart desired. She sat down in the chair next to Edward. Both started dinner during which nothing happened. While Jasmine had completely forgotten what happened to her last night since she woke up this morning. "You like dancing and music, Edward?" Jasmine asked. "No." That's all he had to say while talking, but she didn't mind. After finishing his meal, Edward walked away. She also followed him in surprise. Jasmine thought he must be going to the bedroom, but he entered a room downstairs. She also came there. It was a large hall-like room with a luxurious chandelier hanging in the middle, and many candles burning on candle stands around. There was only light from chandeliers and candles. Edward played a gramophone on a table, and it played a beautiful romantic song. Edward turned to Jasmine, who was watching it all in shock. He reached out and asked for Jasmine's hand. She held his hand without thinking, and Edward pulled her towards him while she collapsed into his arms. "You said that you don't like music and dancing?" Jasmine looked up into his eyes with curiosity. "But I like you." The incoherent reply that came close to the ear tickled Jasmine's soul. Edward had both hands wrapped around her waist. Jasmine wrapped both arms around his neck, and both were slowly swaying to the soft, quixotic song. More than the song, this intimacy was mystifying both of them. Edward lifted Jasmine's leg, which was visible from the high slit, a little higher, and held her back with his other hand, bending her backward. She was intoxicated with this feeling. Her neck was now exposed to the Edward, and her brown hair was beginning to hang down. Edward kissed the neck and then jerked back her upright. "You are very beautiful," he said in an inebriated tone. "Thank you for thinking of complimenting me," she sniggered teasingly. Edward picked her up in his arms and swung her around hard, her fringed gown twirling around, making her feel more beautiful and carefree. Edward stopped in one place, but she was still in his arms as he left the room. His motive was the same, hooking up with her in the upstairs bedroom. Edward placed her on the bed, straightened his spine, and took out a red strip from his coat pocket. "Not today, Edward." She quickly denied it and stood up. "It's important." His tone was grave. "Why is it necessary?" came the ambiguous question again from Jasmine. "Because if I don't shut your eyes, you might get frightened." He clarified her with the conceivable reason. "Who should I be afraid of?" Her question invoked a scoff from Edward's mouth. "Of me! You should be scared of me. Do you think I will be scared of you, the one who loves you?" She said with love in her tone. "Don't make claims that can't be fulfilled." Edward's manner had a sad bitterness. "These claims are true. You just have to try and see." For a few moments, he watched the delightful girl, whose manner was not wariness, fear, or anxiety, but a confident love that made Edward's stony emotions tremble. He took a few steps back and began to take off his long black coat, throwing the coat on the floor and removing the black high neck sticking to his body. Jasmine's eyes widened in surprise, and she put both of her hands over her mouth. Edward's body was scarred with wounds that not even a fraction of the original scar was noticeable. It seemed as if he was wearing a brown shirt with an ugly print on it. But it wasn't a shirt. It was a sign of the treacherous and rotting wounds that covered his body. How did it all happen? Was all she could ask after controlling her terror. "There's no point in telling you, but it's always going to be that way, so I didn't want to scare you or make you hate me by showing my ugly and horrific body." Edward turned away from her after replying shamefacedly. He was now standing wearing only black pants. His entire back was also covered with similar dangerous marks. In addition to these external wounds, many more wounds were inflicted on his soul, and in them, there was also a constant burning sensation, from which he could not rid himself even if he wanted to. He was standing like that when Jasmine put her arms around him from his behind and rested her head on his broad back. If you are covered with such ugly wounds from the hair of your head to the nails of your feet, I will not fear or hate you even then. Jasmine kissed his injured back. Her affectionate, tranquil answer went straight to Edward's heart, the same heart that had become a stone, devoid of all emotion. But Jasmine's love struck it so hard that not only the stone break, but also a fountain of water gushed out from his eyes. He craved this feeling for years, and now he attained it without praying for it. He turned towards her, who was looking at her with love in her eyes. Edward pulled her further into him and pressed their lips together, which Jasmine fully supported. Edward's pulse was pounding. Tears were streaming from his closed eyes, and he was pushing her into himself, as if trying to hide it inside him forever. Jasmine felt a strange wistfulness in his manner. After a while, when Edward parted from her, his face was covered in tears, which made Jasmine feel bad too. He gently wiped away the tears. "Get out of here, Jasmine. Go away," Edward said frantically, holding her face in his both hands. "Where should I go?" she asked in a confused manner, and at that moment he was startled. Edward had called her real name. Go anywhere but far, far away from here. Far enough that Lisa can't find you again? Edward's next words truly surprised her. "You mean you know me?" She pales at the thought of getting caught. "Yes, I know that you are Jasmine, a girl living in a small town. Your father was a breadwinner whom you used to help, but after his death, you were tired of being oppressed by your stepmother and brother. You ran away and bumped into Lisa. Besides, she brought you home out of pity, and then later, with cries of her compulsions, sent you to her so-called dying lover Edward as Lisa for 7 nights. He was bitterly telling Jasmine, while making her shocked beyond measure. "Who are you, and how do you know about all of this?" "I'm a slave prisoner of the dark forces that have been playing the game of death for years, and this time you're their toy, Jasmine," he said miserably. Leaving her face, the confusion in her features was excavating. "After being orphaned at the age of 15, when I was wandering around abandoned, I met a kind woman, Lisa. She brought me to her home after a few days of loving and caring. She brought me here and said that from now on I would stay here. And when she told me my work, I got scared, I refused, and wanted to run away. But with the force of some unseen black powers, she made me her prisoner. I was oppressed continuously by these devils for 5 years, and these marks on my body are from the wounds they inflicted upon me. I thought that I would die, but I would not listen to Grim Reaper. But they did not let me die. I used to ask for death every day, and in return, the devil gave me a painful life. Finally, my bravery was broken, and I accepted his word. And from that day till today, this bloody game is going on here." He slowly revealed the unseen truth in front of Jasmine. "What kind of bloody game?" "Lisa has made a deal with the devil to make her stay young and beautiful forever. Every year, a young girl's body is exchanged with her youthful glow. She finds an innocent, helpless girl, gets their information, and meets them by chance, plays a savior, and becomes their benefactor first, and then sends them here on October 24th. Just like he sent you, that devil first comes into my body for 6 nights and fulfills his lust with these girls, and then at noon on the 7th night, it kills them on Halloween." He revealed a heartbreaking truth. Jasmine felt as if there was a sudden storm in the still sea. "But you were different from everyone else. Instead of being afraid of me and running away, you kept trying to comfort me, and you obeyed everything I said, as if I were your beloved one. That's why I don't keep you under my spell all the time. It was because I started liking your company. I had become numb while living amid these devils. But with you, all my feelings have started to wake up again. I wanted to spend a life, which is not possible, but thinking about your life. It's still possible to be protected from evil. So get out of here. I can't see you getting sacrificed for that selfish bitch." His expression was both affectionate and gloomy. "And if I say that I too have fallen in love with you in these few days, I also want to live with you? Then what?" She came towards him, overcome with emotion. "Then it won't be possible." Saying dejectedly, he couldn't even celebrate the fact that his beloved loved him too. "Why is it not possible? We both can go far away from here together." She offered a solution enthusiastically. He swayed his head in anger. "This cannot be. I am bound by an invisible chain. My limits stop at the place where we spent an afternoon in the shade of a tree. I cannot go beyond that. If I do, this devil will return to me and it'll drag you. But you can go. Halloween starts at 12 tonight. That's why I'm saying get out of here," Edward begged, holding her face with both of his strong, veiny hands. "No, I will not leave you alone in this hell." She shook her head lividly. "If you stay in this hell, you'll kill yourself," Edward reminded her sternly. "I don't care." She was adamant about staying with him, even though her life was at risk. "But I care. For the first time in my life, I've fallen in love with someone, and it's you. I can't see my love in trouble." His loving expression was full of pain. "Why do you expect me to do this, when you can't see your love in trouble?" She also held Edward's face with both of her palms. He was surprised to see that the fear of losing him started hovering over Jasmine's head. "We'll find a way out of here," Jasmine was optimistic in this tense situation. "Which way will we find? All roads are shut here," Edward said miserably, leaving her face. She too got lost in thought. The hand of the big watch was moving slowly towards 12, which was increasing Edward's anxiety. "Can't we exchange something else in this oath?" Jasmine suddenly asked. "On the 7th night, that devil does not come into my body and go near the girl. But that night I have to cut the girl's hand and collect her blood in a white cloth, and at noon take that cloth to the middle of a certain room. That is kept by them giving a green signal. After a few moments, that cloth disappears from there, and all the blood starts draining from the girl's body automatically. The last drop of blood is squeezed from the body, after which the girl turns white and dies." Edward solemnly explained the details of the sympathetic progression, which she listened to carefully. "What if we put the blood of an animal on this cloth?" Jasmine told him without thinking. "He'll recognize that it's not the girl's blood and we've tricked him, and then he'll get angry and do something really wicked." Edward's reply closed all the doors of hope. Jasmine pursed her lips and fell into the thought. Edward looked at the clock. It was only 10 minutes left for tea midnight. "Time is running out, Jasmine. Get out of here quickly." Edward nervously grabbed her by the arm and led her to the door. "I will not leave you like this." She stopped and freed her hand. "You have to go. If I don't give him the blood after Halloween starts, he will come to take your life himself on Lisa's orders. And I won't let that happen," Edward insisted as he held her by the arms. "Jasmine, get out of here." Now his expression was pleading. "What if we give that demon Lisa's blood?" Jasmine suddenly realized and asked Edward, eagerly, leaving him stunned. "It's impossible how we will get her blood at this moment. What will happen if you give it?" She repeated her question, interrupting the conversation. "So maybe this whole bloody game will end eventually, because Lisa is the one who called this devil and made this deal with him. If she doesn't stay, no more girls will be victims of him, and this devil will also return to where he belongs. Hell." When Edward gave a possible answer, the spark of hope in Jasmine's heart lit up even more. "But where is Lisa's blood here?" Edward questioned. "In my bag, at the last sign of my papa." The reply was not immediately understood by Edward.